Hi, everyone. First Alert Meteorologist Scott Gagliardi here with your First Alert Weather Extra on this Thursday morning. What a difference a day makes. Wow. We have temperatures out there right now that are in the 60s and 70s. That's kind of close to what we saw yesterday, but it's the dew point that is just remarkably cooler, lower. I mean, we're talking dew points in the 50s and 40s. That is major changes. Let's get right to the maps because there's even a few showers out there through parts of our state. Here's a live look in New Haven, where you see a lot of clouds around, temperature 71 degrees. New Haven, you're a spot that's still actually holding on to a bit of the mugginess as well. Dew point near 70, at least at last check. In Old Saybrook, where we've had a few showers this morning, it's very gray. And temperatures, they've been cooling quickly, 60s across the eastern parts of the state. Notice up at Windsor Locks, though, still seeing a few of those showers. You can occasionally see a few drops right in front of the lens there. Temperature, though, 69 degrees. First Alert Live Radar shows those showers making their way from west to east. And we're noticing some more redevelopment even across parts of Litchfield County and parts of Fairfield County. So expect these, we'll call them isolated showers, to make their way across the state through the next several hours. Once we get beyond noon, that's when the showers become very widely scattered, we'll say. It's not going to be much in the way of any of these shower activity throughout the afternoon. It will be mostly cloudy. But right now, yeah, if you're in Torrington or through Hartford, up I-84, through Tolland, the Storrs campus, Wyndham, Brooklyn, down 395, getting a little break in the action there. But notice across parts of New Haven County, in and around the greater New Haven area, those showers are continuing, and they will through the next few hours. But look at these temperatures, 60s. I mean, even in the overnight hours. So we broke records for having the warmest overnights for the past few days, meaning our temperatures at night didn't fall below the low to mid 70s. So this is the first time we've seen these 60s, whether it was during the day or at night, in about 3 or 4 days. It's been a while, and they're comfortable with dew points that are much lower. Now, your 24-hour temperature change, this is going to be quite dramatic over the next few hours. We're talking already seeing temperatures 10 to 20 degrees cooler than where they were this time yesterday. And the difference in where our temperatures are headed, whereas the temperatures right now are headed cooler than what you just saw. And this time yesterday, they were climbing rapidly from where they were 70s, eventually became 80s and 90s by 10 a.m. yesterday. Today, we're held back into those 60s and 70s for most of the day. So I'd say by 11 o'clock and around noon, wouldn't be surprised if we see 24-hour temperature changes in that 20 to 30 degree cooler range. And remember, this doesn't take into account the feels like temperature from yesterday. This is just the actual air temperature. So in some cases, say you had a feels like temperature yesterday of 106, and today your temperature is 66. Well, that's a feels like temperature change 24 hours of 40 degrees. Unbelievable how much cooler and how quickly we got. But look at our dew points. There you go. In New Haven, you dropped down. You had a dew point of 70 about 10 minutes ago, and now looking at those 60s, this cooler and drier air is filtering in very quickly. That 50 up in Putnam this morning when I came in, the dew point was in the low 70s. So massive changes on the way, and they stick around for the next couple of days. The heat is well behind us. I mean, there is nothing standing in our way from seeing more seasonable and even today well below average temperatures. Your wind speeds out of the north and northeast. Look at that. Bridgeport sustained at 22, gusting up and over 25 to near 30 there. But everybody else in that 10 to 20 mile per hour range, that's it's bringing in cooler temperatures and drier, more comfortable levels of humidity, but it's also locking in our clouds today. We're going to be mostly cloudy throughout the day. So if you've been putting off yard work, I know plenty of people have because of how hot it's been. There is no judgment there. It was way too hot to be doing any yard work outside. Well, today's your day. If you want to mow the lawn, once we get rid of some of these showers, this afternoon is excellent for any yard work. And just to enjoy the cooler weather, open up the windows if you're feeling up for it. Tonight, you will certainly, as temperatures could fall back into the 50s in some towns. But heat wave number 1 of 2025, it's in the books. Started on Sunday when we reached 92 degrees. And then notice the next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that asterisk, that indicates records were achieved. So we broke 3 daily records I mean, with temperatures like 98, 99, yeah, no surprise there. Even yesterday, 95 degrees. First alert futurecast, though. What are we looking forward to? What's coming up next? Well, we see those showers. They continue through about the noon hour. Beyond that, that's when we'll notice mostly cloudy skies. Can't rule out still at that point an isolated shower, but not like what we're seeing out there this morning. Then for tomorrow, Friday morning, waking up to, once again, cloudy skies. Temperatures cooler, 50s and 60s. And throughout the day, maybe a couple rays of sunshine, but it's a very gray day once again on Friday. Cooler as well. Temperatures held back into the low 70s. Now, Saturday, that's when our winds begin to shift a bit. Notice coming more out of the south and even southeast as opposed to the north and northeast. That will bring in mugginess. So you're going to notice the humidity levels come up a bit. Warmer temperatures, and that cold front that's at this point drifting to the south of Connecticut, well, by Saturday, it returns back to the north as a warm front, and we could have a few areas of thunderstorms riding along that. So it's all going to depend on the exact timing, but Saturday, we're talking a few scattered showers throughout the day. There will be areas of sunshine as well. Once we get towards the evening, and here you see on First Alert Futurecast, 7 p.m., could be tracking a line of thunderstorms to the north and to the west of Connecticut, and possibly could make its way into the state, say, around and after sunset. It all depends on the exact timing. That will determine the intensity of these storms. But speaking of the weekend, likely seeing some rain on Saturday. So at that point, that would be weekend 18 in a row of seeing at least a trace of precip, whether it's the rain that we're seeing back in April, it was some snow. I mean, this has been quite a long-standing streak here, not one that I'm sure many people are excited about. But yeah, this Saturday when we get that rain, making it 18 weekends in a row. Now, let's go back a slide there because this Saturday is going to be an interesting day. So right now we're forecasting temperatures near 80. But as mentioned, that warm front, as it heads off farther towards the north, how quickly does it make its way through Connecticut? That will determine how warm our temperatures get. Now, as mentioned, at this point, we're forecasting around 80, but the possibility exists for mid and even upper 80s. The best chance for the warmest weather will be along the Connecticut and New York border, so out farther towards the west. Best chance of being held back into the 70s, well, that's farther towards the east, along the Connecticut-Rhode Island state border. In the middle, yeah, we'll see if we get to about 80 in Hartford. We'll get a better idea of this later on this afternoon. And that's going to really help us determine where we head with our temperatures. Because right now we're forecasting about 78 on Saturday. But the possibility exists to climb well up into the 80s. And that, at that point, would fuel maybe stronger thunderstorms, more humidity. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that. But at this point, expect temperatures well up into the 70s, maybe warmer. Either way, showers are likely at this point throughout the day on Saturday with storms in the evening hours. Now, if you think the heat is going to stick around because of how June started and technically summer, well, day 8 to 14, which puts us solidly into the first 10 days of July, does not look too warm. We're not looking at heat waves. I mean, temperatures at this point, time frame in that 83, 84 degree range for an average. So anything above that, yeah, it would be those mid and upper 80s. But at this point, no, not looking that way. So we'll see how that evolves over the next week or so. Forecast highs today, the 75 might be a bit optimistic because temperatures low to mid 70s, maybe even some of the hill towns, upper 60s. Either way, it's mostly cloudy and a few showers. Those become a bit more widely, we'll say isolated once we get towards the rest of the day today. So heading to the Yard Goats game, looks good, just mostly cloudy. For tonight, within a few degrees of 60, much, much cooler. Some hill towns, we're talking 50s, what you're waking up to on your Friday. Your First Alert 7-day forecast shows the 70s stick around for Friday. By Saturday, forecasting 78. And some storms possible late day, even throughout the afternoon hours, could be dodging a few showers. Either way, Sunday looks to be the brighter of the two weekend days and warmer, mid-80s by then. For Monday, near 90s. So starting off next week, very hot. Tuesday, the first day of July, well, 91 degrees. Looking pretty hot out there. A few storms are possible late day, and some of those could be on the stronger side. Wednesday at this point, 87. And notice the overnights. Those climb to back up near 70. So that gives us an indication that our humidity levels will climb up once again by the time we get towards next week. There's a look at your shoreline high temperatures over the next 7. Enjoy the cooler weather today. That's all we have for right now. Comfortable levels of humidity. Yeah, a few showers, but I think we'll deal with that compared to how things have been over the last 4 days and how hot things have been. Other than that, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll chat later.